As an innocent driver continues to recover from serious injuries, we're following new developments in this story. Welcome everyone to Western Mass News at 6 o'clock on this Friday. I'm Amanda Martin Ryan. Western Mass News obtained new video taken by a bystander at Wednesday's multi-vehicle crash in West Springfield. Authorities say it started with a police pursuit in Holyoke and ended with that crash on Riverdale Street, landing 5 people in the hospital, 3 of them police officers. Now joining us live from the site of that crash, we turn it over to Western Mass News reporter Reagan Lokri for the latest. So Reagan, what does this new video show?
Well, Amanda, this video that we obtained today is a different perspective than what we've seen before. On your screen, you can see what appears to be police officers running over to the blue SUV that was hit by the suspect during the police pursuit Wednesday. The blue SUV is clearly not upright until what appears to be those same officers running over to flip it back over. We followed up with the district attorney's office today, and they tell us the victim of Wednesday's wrong-way crash remains in critical but stable condition, and there are no updates. A GoFundMe page describes her as a loving mother, daughter, and friend whose life changed in an instant. We're not releasing her name since authorities haven't identified her publicly. Police say 37-year-old Carlos Maldonado of Springfield had 2 outstanding warrants and a stolen gun when officers spotted his Jeep on Route 5 Wednesday morning. And here in this video, also obtained by Western Mass News today, you can see what appears to be the suspect being pulled out of the car. He's seen sitting in the middle of the road before being escorted away by what appears to be police. And now a quick warning that the next video may be difficult to watch. When police tried to pull him over, they say Maldonado hit a police cruiser and fled. He drove the wrong way before crashing head-on into a blue Nissan near a car dealership. Maldonado ran but was quickly caught. Police found the stolen gun in his vehicle. 3 officers were hurt and taken to the hospital. Maldonado was also hospitalized. Maldonado has a criminal record that dates back to 2007. We were curious about public safety guidelines when it comes to police pursuits. Western Mass News reached out to the Massachusetts Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, or POST. They tell us since the POST Commission is so new, they do not currently have policies on police pursuits, adding that as of right now, it is up to each department to have their own set protocols. However, POST admits one industry standard that needs to be developed is officer response protocols, and they are currently working on policies for things like police pursuits. Now, I did reach out to Holyoke Police. Unfortunately, they were unable to do an interview today. For now, reporting live in West Springfield, Reagan Lokri for Western Mass News.